everyone. Hi. Good morning. So Hailey, that was amazing. I was so inspired that I was thinking when I come out, I'll do a bit of a jig. Then I realized that I might actually chase all of you out of this room, so I decided that I'll keep to my opening. About 25 years ago, I started my career with Singapore Airlines. So I was a flight steward when I first started about 25 years ago. Most of you were probably not even born yet, or you were sitting in the laps of your parents. And in one of your SQ flights, I could have served coffee or tea to your parents while they were carrying you. I then moved on to join Microsoft and stayed there for about 19 years, which was a big portion of my career in Microsoft. I had no technology background, joined an amazing company, and went through an amazing 19 years. And after that, I left about a year ago, and I joined a digital company which I run across Singapore and Malaysia, a company listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. And through all these experiences that I've gone through, it's been pretty amazing when I sit down and I reflect coming to today with regards to where I stand and what I've learned through these experiences. And when I think about where I think about where I stand from various layers of life, from the world to my belief. And I actually agree that we all play a part in the world we live in. So I stand today in a world that's changing at a rapid rate, in a world that's challenging on our beliefs, in a world that is constantly being disrupted, where a new world order is actually getting created. I stand in a country where I lead a business, and I work with amazing local talent, and I stand in a country where there's incredible opportunity to harness culture, harness talent, and harness assets to build an incredible future. I stand in a company that believes in equality, that thinks global, acts local, and invests for the long term. I stand in a community of like-minded people who share similar passions as I do, whether it's in diversity, inclusion, or transforming education, or using technology to make a difference. I stand in a community of people who share passions with me. Above all, I stand in a family of people related and unrelated to me, unrelated but very close, who have my back, who want to see me succeed, who will tell me what I need to hear, who keep me honest, and a family that loves me for who I am and forgives my shortcomings and are my biggest fans. And through all these different layers that I live in, that I've gone through, I've learned so much. And what I've learned is we're not alone. We're all dependent on one another. As they are dependent on me, I'm dependent on them. I've also turned around and learned that at the end of the day, what separates us and makes us successful is our mental models and our attitudes. It's how we show up and how we bounce back. But what stops us from getting ahead is not things external to us. It's within us. The enemy is within. Let me tell you a story. I knew a 7-year-old kid, short, chubby. Everyone loved pinching his cheeks when he was growing up. A day before his exams, he froze. And when I say freeze, I mean he was paralyzed. He couldn't move. His parents were distraught. They were worried. He skipped his exams, went through a bunch of medical tests, and realized later there was nothing medically wrong with him. What happened was he had so much fear of his exams, of failing, of going blind, of disappointing his parents, that it took over him and it paralyzed him. That kid at 7 years old was me. It was probably one of the most difficult times for me as a young kid. But what it taught me was what fear can do to you if you don't turn around and take control. If you don't turn around, be proactive of overcoming it. And what I've learned fast forwarding today is the power of success. And the negative power of success, because power of success can breed complacency. It can cause you to turn around and believe that what got you here will take you to where you want to go. In an age that is constant, it's true. In an age that we live in today, which is disruptive in nature, it's not true. Success can actually be, like fear, a negative catalyst. And when you think about disruption, we live in this age where disruption is a normal. But despite all the literature knowledge that's out there about organizations being disrupted, business models being disrupted, despite all of that, I still see people not taking proactive actions to own their disruption. I still see people standing in the glory of their past, thinking all their skills will take them to the future, and then they lose their jobs. I see kids graduating with straight A's, MBAs, top MBAs in the world, thinking that they are infallible, and then they lose their jobs. And then they don't know how to face the Asian parents because they lose face. And they don't know how to turn around and put food on the table because they've got a young family. But in all of this disruption, it is the new normal. It is the new normal. It is here to stay. And disruption must be a friend, not a foe. And that's why I've learned that over time, I stand in this belief that personal disruption is the new currency for success. And when I talk about personal disruption, what do I mean? Here's how I define personal disruption. It is personal. It basically means you taking ownership of your own transformation in a world around you that's constantly changing. That's not staying still. You cannot live in the status quo. It means you take proactive actions to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now, this is a pretty simple concept when you think about it. What's so great about it? We get it intellectually because we're smart people, but we don't get it emotionally because we fear. We have a tendency to stay in the comfort zone. So I started to think about how do I take all these concepts of personal disruption, which is pretty ambiguous when you think about it, and put it into a simple, practical framework that you can use. So I pulled together a practical framework for personal disruption. Something that I worked with a coach to think about how do I take 30 years of experience, how do I take observations that I've seen and what I've learned through my journey to pull it into a simple framework. I break this framework down into two components, mastery and moments. Mastery is always on. It's about mastering critical skills that can help you to ride the waves of disruption in a proactive manner. And through mastery, there are moments of opportunities that will appear. You will learn how to recognize those moments and grab those moments to catapult you forward in your careers, in your lives. And I'm reminded of one Chinese proverb that I want to share with you. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls and others build windmills. You need to build windmills when you're living in a constant age of change and disruption. So let me start with mastery. So when you think about mastery, I break mastery down to 4 components. Inspiration, self, voice, and learning. Inspiration, it's about knowing your why. It's about understanding your why so that you can connect yourself to a sense of purpose. A sense of purpose that will stretch you, that will inspire you to take on big challenges, that will compel you to take on big challenges. And knowing your why grounds you. And it grounds you so that you can be grounded and focused, and you can help to become a better version of you. Not someone else, a better version of you. And then I talk about self. And self is all about developing a sense of self-awareness of who you are. Self-awareness is not something that happens overnight, it takes time. And developing self is about knowing who you are, your motivations, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's about learning to take feedback like bitter medicine in a good way. And then developing your voice. Your voice is a very important toolbox. It's probably one of the best toolboxes you have, but sometimes living in Asian cultures, we fall into a trap of going with the norm and saying, we cannot say anything because we don't want to challenge others in public. It's not how we do. We respect hierarchy. Respecting hierarchy doesn't stop you from opening up, sharing your opinions, challenging, speaking up, and finding the courage to do it even when you think people around you are much smarter. And learning. Learning is about the continuous motion of learning through traditional and non-traditional methods, recognizing that there will be risks you have to take, recognizing you have to try something new, because if you don't, disruption will take place, recognizing that failure is a risk, but failure can lead to mastery. Mastery is always on, and if you focus on mastery, there will come points in time where you will learn to recognize moments that come to you, moments of opportunity that will catapult you forward. What is moments? I break it into 4 elements. Vision, emotion, resistance, and learning again. What is vision? Vision is when you turn around, you get an opportunity. 15 years ago, I got an opportunity that says, Haresh, we want you to go to Malaysia, run this business. And I had this vision of me succeeding in running this business and all the cool things I could do, but I had the same vision that says, what if I fail? How do I feed my 2-year-old daughter? It's a disaster. So did I take that opportunity 15 years ago? What do you think? I'll come back to that. Emotion is the fear, it's the doubt, it's the daunting tasks, of the daunting thoughts that come to your head. Very obvious. That leads to potentially resistance. Resistance that I believe is both internal and external. Internal, because you develop all the reasons of why you shouldn't take the opportunity. External, because you will listen to everyone who will tell you you should not take the opportunity because everyone else before you has failed. Or resistance in the sense that says the entire world is doing things this way, why are you trying to do it that way? And then finally, learning. Learning from the perspective that the opportunities that come your way during those moments are opportunities that will stretch you, get you out of your comfort zone, and teach you new know-hows in ways you can't. Recognizing the risk of failure is real, but it's okay, because failure is not a limitation. Failure can lead to mastery. And that's how we learn, and that's how we grow. And when you take control of your mastery, you will learn to recognize moments, and you will learn to embrace moments and not let fear or your comfort zone or your previous success paralyze you and stop you from going forward. 15 years ago, I had that opportunity. I was full of fear. I had all these thoughts that I would fail. In 3 weeks, I made a decision, moved my wife and my 2-year-old daughter, and moved to Malaysia. I stayed in Malaysia 2 years, and I catapulted after that in ways I couldn't believe. It was tough, it was never easy, but it was the most rewarding, dynamic, fastest decision I made. I was young and I was foolish. So my friends, you are the future. The waves of impact that lie ahead of you are incredible. But here's the thing. Your ability to succeed does not lie on anywhere else but within you. Your ability to harness your mental models, your attitudes, to own your own personal disruption in a proactive way. Because when you master those critical skill sets that are in an always-on fashion, it will lead to you recognizing the moments that come before you where natural human tendency is to run away from, to go into your little cocoon, your safe zone, your comfort zone, and not move. And it's important for all of us, in whatever roles we play, whether it's leaders of organizations, like myself, or whether it's leaders of educational institutions, for us to embrace personal disruption. Because the world we live in is changing in enormous ways. The pace and volume of change is not slowing down, it's increasing. And if the external environment is changing faster than you become obsolete. Humanity can be at risk. So it's super important for all of us to be able to own and drive our own personal disruption so that we can help humanity transition into this new world order. And Morgan Freeman sums it up well. And he says, we all come from different places, but we are bound by our humanity. And when we lead with our thoughts on what we can learn, and when we think about how we can serve and who we can serve, and when we think about how we can become a better version of ourselves every single day, we create meaning in our lives. And we make a difference. And the difference we make is a small ripple. The small ripple multiplied by the number of people that does it can make a profound difference to you, your family, your community, your company, your country, and the world at large. Personal disruption must be something we own on a proactive and drive on a proactive basis. It is an idea, I think, worth spreading because we live in a world of constant change. And in a world of constant change, every single person must own their disruption, must be proactive about it, because none of us are infallible to it. And I hope all of you will challenge yourself and will disrupt yourself in a proactive way in this age, in the digital age, when nothing, absolutely nothing is certain, but everything is possible. So my friends, I stand in the belief that personal disruption is the new currency of success. I actually believe that is an idea worth spreading, especially in the world we live in, where things are constantly changing and the rate and pace of change is absolutely growing. My question to you is, where do you stand? Thank you.